Welcome to Hoardganize with professional organizer Rachel Seavey. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., Rachel shares her expertise and compassionate approach to help you deal with overwhelming clutter. Rachel?
Hey, collectors! Welcome to the Hoardganize Podcast. I'm your host, professional organizer Rachel Seavey, and this is the second episode in the Scratching the Surface series. On the first episode, we discussed the variety of reasons why you clutter. And we also discovered that you can have multiple reasons why you clutter. Yeah, I was taking my 9-year-old into school last week, and we were talking about work. Bless his heart for always showing interest. And I can't even remember what I was sharing with him. But somewhere along the lines, we had this conversation. I said, most of my clients aren't really hoarders. And he says, "Yeah, I know, Mom." And I kind of thought he was blowing me off and just tired of listening to his mom go on and on about collecting. As you guys know, I love to just talk. So I said, well, why are they cluttering then? And my brilliant little boy said, "Mom, they have had a series of unfortunate events." And boy, was I proud. And he sure did say that with confidence. A series of unfortunate events. Oh my gosh, that pretty much nails it, right? Thrilled with his answer, I asked him where he had even heard that phrase. And he just matter of factly explained that he was reading Lemony Snicket at school, and that's one of the titles of the books. He told me that the characters in the story had a cluttered home, they were running late, and this was all due to a series of unfortunate events. Collectors, this is what most of you are going through. So I made him write it down immediately so I would have some inspiration for my next podcast, and it actually fits in just perfect. I mean, have you gone through a series of unfortunate events and that's why your home is cluttered? Take some time after this episode or listen to it a few times through with a notebook and a pen or pencil and list all of the reasons why you think you clutter. This is going to be very important for you throughout this process. We are going to be covering many of the reasons why people clutter in full length episodes throughout this Scratching the Surface series. So it's important that you know why you feel like you clutter so that you can take notes on each subject. I had the first episode provoke some thought, give some suggestions, and give you a client story about somebody that had many reasons about what they were going through, just to provoke some thought. And now you are going to take that information and write it all down. Go ahead and grab one of the many notepads or tablets or free mail-in notebooks because you donated some money that you have around, and just start listing your reasons. Now, I do want to advise to try your best to keep the same notepad or tablet for the entire project so that you can track your progress. If you could dedicate some tape or find a really bright color to cover the notebook in so that you won't lose it in the clutter, or even just trying your best to put it in the same place every day would be great. Make sure that it is an obvious place, though, and that it is clearly accessible. I really don't expect you to finish this in one day either. This is the story of your life. So, depending on how old you are and what you've been through, there may be many series of unfortunate events. Try your best to not get caught up in the details. don't fall back into old traumas. Simply put down a line item or a quick description or a reminder. It's going to be a timeline of why you believe that you clutter. And I do want to share with you collectors that I have my own series of many, in my opinion, unfortunate events in my lifetime so far. And I'm going to take a moment to discuss my own. I think it's important for you to see the process, and I think it's important for you to understand where I'm coming from. I know I'm 37, and a lot of the times people kind of wonder, well, what has she been through? So this is really hard for me, but it is important to all of us here. So I do trust you. And so I just jotted down my own little timeline to understand why I don't clutter. Okay, here it goes. My mom left me. She put me in a group home. My sister died. My father died. My stepfather died. I've had 2 failed marriages. And that's really all I want to list at this moment. But it gives you an idea about what I've been through so that you know that I've been in the emotional trenches with you. And I've not lived some sort of Mary Poppins, perfect fairy tale life. Don't get me wrong. I've always been super organized, but after what I've shared with you, that could be from being poor. And it could be from wanting to control the few things that I have, in addition to living in small spaces. So I really and truly understand why it is that I don't clutter. Understanding why you do clutter is just as important as sorting out the physical clutter. I'd like you to take a moment and write that down. Understanding why you clutter is just as important as sorting out the physical clutter. Start with your earliest memories, how you were brought up. Did you grow up in a neat environment? Did you grow up in a messy environment? Did you have to do chores? Were you shown how to do anything? What was it like when you were a teenager? Have you ever been shamed for being cluttered? Have you been injured? Have you gotten married, divorced, postpartum depression, never could have a child? Have you lost a child? Don't miss a moment or event that stands out. You're essentially creating a timeline of your own series of unfortunate events in order to understand why you are where you are now with your clutter. Next week, we will be discussing depression and clutter. I'd have to say that with everybody I work with, the common factor there is depression. And I will be giving you 5 tips on how to deal with depression and clutter. Collectors, if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube, please don't forget to show me some love by clicking the thumbs up button, subscribing to my YouTube channel, or by leaving a comment. Until next time, collectors, and remember, happiness is a place between too little and too much.
This has been Hoardganize with Rachel Seavey. New episodes are available every Sunday at 6 p.m. and also on the Collector Care YouTube channel. Download Rachel's Affirmations for Collectors on iTunes or Amazon.com, or sign up for Rachel's blog at collectorcare.com and receive 7 tips for clutter-free living. Thanks for listening.